So, we got some invites to do. Food all on my face. We got some invites to do, and then we're gonna get into the video. I got a couple people. I got guests coming in, and then we'll go from there. I'm gonna do my first invites, and then I'm gonna pull the guests in. I selected the title, Reviewing the Roots of the Work. The roots of the work is basically another way of saying cash in the receipt. The roots of the work is at the core of it, what did you do? Okay, so I just named it that. It seemed kind of appropriate for who we have as guests because we dealing with the Haitian Revolutionary Conjuring, the closing of it, right? So I'm bringing you Arisha. And what it do, Teddy? We gonna take this from there, and we gonna also got to bring in the sister Phoenix in a minute. What's going on, God?
Peace and blessings, Alafia. Peace and blessings, everyone. How y'all doing tonight?
Man, I love the shit out that hat, man.
Man, I appreciate it. I've been getting some crazy reviews on it, especially in Mississippi. I hat place. They gave me a bunch of hats and asked me to do some of their hats now. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah,
how you doing, guy? How you doing?
For them to ask you that, it's the reason that they ain't just ask you just to be asking you. So y'all got to pay attention because he done went back to the Holy Land, the real Holy Land, and these hats all mean something different. He got on the top hat. So when you went down there, they was looking at you as the Mad Hatter. The Mad Hatter is one of the brothers to come to tear shit up. Because you know who wear the top hat.
Yeah.
The Baron wear the top hat.
The Baron.
Wear the top hat. Right? And sometimes Ogun wear the top hat. But when you wear that top hat, yeah. So they probably thought you was the Mad Hatter that gave you all them hats.
Everywhere I go, you know, I don't take credit for nothing. Bobby Hemmett was the one that initially put me on it. Hold on, before we do anything else, I noticed you're live. Whenever you're ready. But
stop. Do what you're doing. I gotta follow through with that. That's a call from the ancestors for y'all that don't know.
I stay. For all the known and unknown ancestors, for all the unknown and unknown revolutionaries, teachers that have been teaching us from Dr. George Washington Carver, Bobby Hemmett. There's so many more, but I always want to say something. We got to show love to our ancestors and all the great teachers, known and unknown. I say. And most definitely respect to you, OG, for the knowledge you putting out there for us. The Phoenix, who's going to be on here shortly. I say. But I'm sorry. What were we saying now?
Oh, you good? We going into what you own? Well, I was going into a little bit of the topic because I named it Reviewing Roots of the Work. You know, when you work the conjure, they call it working the root. Right. And so what everybody, all of the people that keep accusing me of casting conjures don't know how dumb they sound. I came to make the motherfuckers who had open conjures close that shit. Why would I open one up at the close of the age, which is an asinine thing to do? So that lets you know that they don't even know what the fuck they talking about.
Or option two, they agents. I've noticed something. I've been noticing a lot of people being in the live don't really be for it. But it's a trillion things you could be doing while you're here unless you're an agent. So some people, they just try to just talk. People don't even have knowledge no more. You just talk to hear yourself talk. You know what I'm saying? And they're missing everything. Sometimes if the word, like they getting caught up in messengers, they getting caught up in all this. But just find you something to do. You know what I'm saying? Ever since what you asked me to do, I did it. And when I did it, I can tell you for myself, for my business, for my family, things change immediately. I can't go into like paraphrasing it in 5 minutes, but when I tell you, I was just walking through communities and people were just acting real different to me, whether they've seen any of my videos or not. They were just responding to me different. When I went to New Orleans, it wasn't 5 minutes. You can ask anybody. It wasn't 5 minutes into New Orleans, but people approached me like, yo, pop the trunk. We want whatever you got. You see what I'm saying? When I go to Mississippi, the white folks open the door for me. How can we help you, sir? You know what I'm saying? So what you said came true, and we just got to get back into our rituals. And tonight is a powerful, powerful full moon. I think that we let so many full moons and eclipses pass us. I'm not saying that you're supposed to utilize every single one of them, but we really need to start tapping into our rituals more. And what you did to help me, and the rituals you was explaining to me, and I did it. I saw immediate results. No cap, no lie, no pun intended. So appreciation.
In order to be able to move that energy, you had to be spiritually strong, so to speak. Your rank high in the spirit, your spiritual essence strong. You're gonna see immediate results. And then they wouldn't have had you put in the work you did 200 years ago, right? Or 250 years ago, if they thought you wasn't going to be able to close it out now.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? So when everybody is called, they can't use half-assers. When you finna do something this big, you can't use half-assers. The only thing the half-assers can do is half-ass their way out the way, because they only in the way. So now, when you know, that's why I keep reiterating it over and over. All of the masters you read about in the books is back.
I see.
They all back. Every last one of them. They back.
And you know what's funny? In the prophecies, all those prophecies, they're saying the exact same thing. They're coming back. They coming this. I was on the phone with I'm in out here in New Orleans with Sister Jada. I'm out in Mississippi now, but she was saying that if you look at these prophecies, I ain't gonna say too many words because my Facebook just got banned for saying too much. But all of them saying the same thing, that the ones that are prophesying in these prophets' names, or these so-called prophets' names, aren't gonna be the real ones. That's what they said in the Quran. That's what they said in the Torah. That's what they said in the Bible. And there will be a time where the prophet Yahshua will say, none of y'all, I don't know none of y'all. And this was only but 2,000 years ago. So who was he talking about? Like, clearly he's saying, I don't know none of you. So I don't try to debate with none of these people. I don't try to explain nothing, because we're trying to debate. It's not intelligent to debate with the ones that they're saying are the agents. The Quran specifically said that the desert Arab is the worst Muslim.
Yeah. You know the Bedouins, the word that they use for desert Arab in the translation is Bedouin. Muhammad said the Bedouin is the worst of the unbelievers, because they stand in your face and say, yes, we believe. And
in their heart, they don't. Oh, so you on it. Yeah, that's our deep right there.
Yeah, he say, but they shirk.
I say
hypocrites.
Hypocrite.
They bearing false witness. They are kafarun, considering what they know to be true. The munafiqun, right? So they be having motherfuckers killed. Like they had Salman Rushdie, they stabbed him 30 years later. They couldn't find him because he was hiding from them. 30 years later, he doing the live speech. I think he was over here somewhere in the States, probably New York, and they stabbed him. The same motherfuckers that's calling you a hypocrite is being hypocritical. Now make this shit make sense. They say they follow the sunnah of the prophet, but it looked like they sooner or later following some shit that nobody ain't telling them to follow, including the prophet. Now, whenever they need a hadith so they can justify some bullshit, they're going to make one up and say it was from a trustworthy source. But why ain't nobody ever read this motherfucker?
Well, the thing is, they weren't expecting us to read in periods. That's the thing. A lot of stuff you can read, the numbers, the timelines, everything else is right there in our face. We don't do, like you said, the due diligence of reading and trying to comprehend what's really putting out there. Even when we talk about this, Kanye's right, it's deeper than just saying Kanye's right. It's deeper than just the little thing they wear in their head. It's deeper than the little fake sideburns. Who did it better? You know, I'm not trying to compare myself or put myself on a scale with none of them. That's a copy of a copy, which ain't never gonna come out right. You feel me? I'm trying to tap into. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm really trying to tap into, but everybody's trying to ignore the esoteric part or saying like that's something. I just feel like, even like I said, going back to this, that's something that Bobby Hemmett put on us. You know what I'm saying? And when you were talking about the feds versus the feds versus the feathers, and it's just certain things I put together. Now, with what we know now, there's certain stones I wouldn't like. All that sacrifice shit, that shit is dead. All that damn getting rid of the poor righteous teachers, or that, this ain't that age for that. They had the
Yeah,
age, but vice versa.
the
Yeah, that's
declaration been made. No longer shall the righteous suffer for the indignations of the wicked. You can no longer offer the blood of the righteous to redeem you from your wickedness. Enlil accept that shit. Inky, I9, and Nor 2 Hootie accept that shit. Right? So Inky and I9 are leaving after the coronation. Enlil punk asses are indisposed. Right? So that just leaves Tahuti here, Thoth, and he not accepting no motherfucking sacrifices. You won't sacrifice the righteous blood because under the old law, the righteous blood should not be spilled in vain. But under the new law or under the new regime, the rule is no longer shall the righteous suffer for the indignation of the wicked. Every motherfucker that do the dirt shall reap the harvest of the dirt they done theyself. They shall not pawn it off on another. That's where I'm at with it.
I see.
So if they want to push it off on somebody else, go. You can try it. That shit definitely gonna backfire in multiples of 1,000 because it's been declared at the beginning of the new age. The Aquarian age is not an age where we're gonna be accepting blood sacrifices of the righteous, and that's just the way it is. And anybody who's planning on being here need to learn that and learn it quick.
I think the ones that gonna know, they're the ones that's gonna know commenting. Yeah, but yeah, OG, I know we had a couple of things. Mine was on currency. I say, all hail SikApe, all hail Thorpe, all hail SikApe. I say, guys.
It ain't hope
It's so.
until the soul get here.
I say.
Look, you see, I got mine. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All hail SikApe. I know tonight I wanted to speak on the a couple things. One of the things is I'm in Mississippi. I'm not really on Mississippi on a social visit per se, or because family they got some other stuff going on in Mississippi. So I'm gonna throw this out here. Yeah, I'm doing some. I just went to the Mississippi River the other day, did a little thing. I'm trying to upgrade some ways of thinking. And I'm gonna throw this out here real quick. We got 216 people plus ourselves, right? I'm gonna throw this out here right now. When we fight in this law system, we not fighting with words no more. We ain't fighting with hands, none of that. We fighting with these herbs. And I'm throwing this as free gems, free money. Like people charge you for this. Black mustard seed and black poppy seed. Black mustard seed, black poppy seed. That seal in every courtroom, that seal on every badge. If you keep black mustard seed and poppy seed every time, keep it closed, tight. But every time you see that, you throw it. If you go into the courthouse and just try it, black mustard seed, black poppy seed, take it into the courts and throw it in the courts. You will fuck up that whole turbulence. Don't take my word for it, K0146. But I had to come down here because they just killed another child. And that's I'm from Gulfport. That's normal. I ain't about to get out there and talk too much about it because I'm from Gulfport. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Florida, but I was raised in Gulfport. So we know what it's hitting for. They do this every couple of years because we down here with something called the Dixie Mafia. And the Dixie Mafia is, it is what it is. Like I say, because we didn't know what we know now, I got too much juju for them now. And that's why they don't want to come back to Mississippi. But that's why I'm here. I'm hollering at some big mamas, talking to them. I'm hollering at some strong brothers and sisters or whatever, all the way back and forth to New Orleans. And I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, Florida, New Orleans, Mississippi, all that was one, and it still is one if we want to take it back to that. Because like you said, we never surrendered, and as you see, we not dead. So I really want to.
They stole my land, but I keep seeing it every time I look out the window.
Right. So, but I'm gonna say this, kind of like I think I was telling y'all. You have to understand and understand. Right now, they desperate, right? So I was talking to OG, and like I was telling him earlier today, everything that you kind of been speaking out, And I went back and I've been watching your videos since 2018. It's all coming to fruition. Like the receipts is receipting. Like anybody saying, well, where the receipts is in the news every day. So it's already been game over. And I mean, this is on a global scale. So whether it's been OG Rod, whether it's Divine Insight, whether it's been Kali, whoever it is that you can listen to or follow, all of the information is coming through. So, and and like me, obviously, I'm from an astrologer galactic level. So to me, when I'm looking at stars, I read it like a newspaper. So they're trying to do different things, like you said, because they used to the old ways where they could do blood sacrifices and the shit ain't working. And they not understanding and they fighting for their life, but the fight over. And like today, obviously, was the blood moon lunar eclipse. They even tried to plan and push back their elections a week. But you see what's happening in Brazil. If you haven't been saying what's happening in Brazil, that's an Oshun pool down there, what's going on in Brazil. You see a hurricane coming in or get ready to come through in Florida. That's from Oshun Yemiya, Mommy Water Pool. If you over here and you see, you know, the energy that's going on, all of this stuff is galactic. And what you understand, the house of Taurus is the house of financial security, stability, and finance. And what it is it hits Uranus. So if you know what Uranus is, the great awakener, the sudden change. And Taurus is about structure. I don't want to move. I don't want to go nowhere. What it's saying is, I don't give a fuck what you want. This shit is moving, it's going, this shit is done, it's over. And Scorpio coming in to knock it out. And it hit the opposing, it was the sun, which is the over planet, masculine energy, Mercury, communication, and the south node, which is the direction you are to go no more. So it opposes all that. And so where Uranus and where Taurus is the north node, which is the direction we are to go. And it also was hitting as far as in the moon. And then Uranus is the great awakening. So it's saying I'm having a whole electric, and it's almost like a double contundra, really almost a triple. So you got an eclipse, which is, and a full moon, which is double. And it shows shaking shit up. They don't know what to do. And like I was kind of telling y'all, from March 7th, because just like we got natal charts, America, or really is Britain, because we know that they're all colonies, has their natal chart too. The day that they claim their birth is coming to fruition. And their fruition and their chart is hitting on March 7th, 2023 and March 23rd, 2023 with the Pluto in Aquarius and Saturn in Pisces return. What that means basically is all that shit is done. That Pluto Aquarian shit ain't happened. This ain't no once every 3 years like when you say, oh, Mercury in retrograde, my stuff is messed up, I can't. No. This is, I'm shutting all your shit down. Like, over.
Okay.
And that's why the money system's gone. That's why that 10-foot wall and went up in the Federal Reserve. That's why when he say DC is permanently closed, this shit is permanently motherfucking closed. This bitch ain't opening up. I don't even know why people went to vote today. It's CGI. This shit is not real.
Phoenix, what day did we switch into Taurus?
Well, we're actually in Scorpio, but we switched to Taurus. That Taurus is in April, but I'm saying from the eclipse energy, this is, you know, because when you have the sign.
I'm just trying to slow you down so the people that's watching, because I was keeping up, but I was saying, because it was kind of hard for me to keep up. So when it's hard for me to keep up, I got to slow you down. It's because a lot of the people be like, what's he talking about? So the energy that we reading.
Okay, so the paper we reading is, when you can say basically the energy we moved in is when Scorpio season started. So that's when these eclipses, and really actually it kind of started moving in April when we started moving to the Taurus Scorpio eclipses. That's when this energy really started.
When you say Taurus Scorpio eclipses, can you explain that a little bit? So
eclipses in layman's terms is beginnings and endings. It's when you have the sun, so the solar energy, and the moon. I'm trying to put it in layman's terms. Basically, it's eclipses, it's portals, openings, gateways, doorways. So if anybody used to listen to Divine Insight, when he say rainbows are portals or gateways or openings, that's astrologically. We know that we're not just on Earth. Like, we know beings is in here. So they here. Like, I don't know no other way to say it. Like, they are here. And the portal.
Right, we already got that. I'm trying to get them get you slow down enough for the people to be able to keep track with when the energy shifted, how the energy, what does it mean when it's shifted? What do it look like in the 3D? So I was just taking you step by step.
Okay, so
we going into Taurus, Scorpio eclipses, and now we have eclipse and the blood moon on the same day, on an election day, in the zodiac sign of Scorpio.
And the year of the tiger. This is the year of the black tiger as well.
The year of Shango, which is Shango's energy.
With the big year 6, year of Shango. That's why I said, because we talk to all the time, I'm already with you because you've been prepping me on this for some years now. But it's just like the year of Shango, the year of 6. You know what 6 is. I know what 6 is. 6 came to do what we gonna do: destroy and rebuild. We're gonna flip it, like you say, flip 180, flip south, 180, flip north, right? 72 each way around. So that's a 3. I mean, you know what I'm saying. So it's like boom. But this is the year of Shango. Let's start there. This is the year of Shango. Hold on.
And I thought somebody put Mars retrograde in Gemini. So yeah,
and then by it's being Taurus is money
right now. Yeah,
Taurus is the bull. That's why. And when you talk about stocks, you're looking at the bull and the bear. Taurus is money. By being Scorpio, that's money, but it's also just as quick as it is to reward you. Because my mother's a Scorpio. Just as quick as it is to reward you, it's also quick to punish you. As you see, there will be blood on this, like anything with a tiger, there's blood. Anything with Scorpion, there's going to be attacks. Shango, there's attacks, but it's strategic. It's political. Shango is political. So I'm sorry.
It's also harmonic, right? Because Scorpio is all or none, right? So it's not no hiding. It's not no grays. And kind of also when you look at Taurus Scorpionic energy, it's, if you haven't been doing right, so whether it's eating right, whether you haven't had your energy, it's the Anubis energy. Think about it, light as a feather. It's weighing of the heart, right? Yeah. So we are literally in Anubis energy of the weighing of the heart. So if your shit ain't been right, that's why, like, if y'all been seeing videos online where they're saying kids was in school and it seemed like they're falling out, whether you want to say it's because of the shot or the energy, no, the DNA is upgrading. So when people were saying about eating right, I'm not saying people have to all be vegan or whatever, but the energy in the crystalline DNA in the weighing of the heart, the Anubis energy is on the planet. Like
consequences.
So
yeah.
let me
You
go
got to pay for the consequences
of the Anubis energy. So you know the Mexican hairless dog, the Zoloto, right? That's not the jackal that they tell us from Egypt. It's the dog from Mexico, right? When Anubis comes with Tahuti, they call it the brothers of destruction,
right?
Because the father Osiris is followed by a black dog. The great father is followed by the black dog. And the black dog is Canis Major.
Yes.
Right? But the black dog is followed by a puppy because right behind it is Canis Minor. Right? So that's a three parent lineage on the father line. So Tubal Cain. Okay, what that means is it's a father, a son, and a grandson all working to be righteous to the same degree. So we come across in the translation of the stars is the great father walks with a black dog and the black dog comes with a puppy. Right? Because Canis Major is followed by Canis Minor, and Canis Major is on the heels of Osiris, or as we call him, Orianos.
Yeah.
Right? So his belt is the three sisters.
Yep.
Right? He used the three sisters to flip the motherland. But if the three sisters picked the son, then they bumped the son to a four-corner shuffle. That flipping to the other side of the star system. Because the Tubal Cain in the four-corner shuffle is the seven sisters of the Pleiades. The Pleiadian seal. And the Pleiadian seal, as above, so below, is the La Palma Islands, right? What we call the Canary Islands. And the Canary is the first in the motherfucking cave when the mining expedition go on, because they the most sensitive. So when the seven sisters seal you, you seal for sure. And when the father line flip you off a Tubal Cain for the motherland to give you a four-corner shuffle, they validating who you is by not even telling you nothing, because they're doing it in your face behind your back. Now, when you were saying you went to some of my old videos, remember, I said when the energy grid start to shift and the energy start to upgrade, and Big Mama turned their mitochondrial off.
Yep,
Remember
you did.
I said that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I said they're going to come up with every excuse to tell y'all why these motherfuckers is just dropping dead, but they really not going to be able to tell you the truth.
Because you talked about that mitochondrial DNA. You sure did.
So that was what, 2018?
That was 2018.
So we in 2022. So that's at least 2.5 years. So I was telling them 2.5 years ago that they're gonna cut when the mitochondria starts to get shut off. They're not gonna have an explanation. What's the cause of sudden adult death syndrome?
I don't know. Talk to me. Tell me.
They don't got no cause of death.
They don't have one.
I want to say it, but like I said, I got a couple of my other pages blocked already. But consequences. We're going to say consequences. Because you didn't listen, because you didn't use rational sense. Fuck common sense. Rational sense. You let motherfuckers play with you like a guinea pig. You know what I'm saying? So
it ain't that. Before that shit even came about, I said this.
It's the crystalline. It's the crystalline. Like it's the.
Now that could be a contributing factor to some of the cases, but it was going to happen anyway. Just like
I believe.
Some of the ones running around calling themselves gods, and didn't do that self work and didn't get that dirt and no good rightness out of it.
That shadow work is a requirement.
They trying to beat Big Mama out their head by running their head into the walls.
It's the cleanup. It's the cleanup. That's why everybody not gonna go. It's a lot of people not gonna go. I'm telling you, it's the cleanup.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you said that part. I'm sorry.
My thing is, if they over 12, kill them all.
Yep.
If they over 12, kill them all. We'll start with the youth.
That's what they. Yep.
OG, I ain't gonna lie. She said some real stuff. She was like, everybody ain't gonna make it, but for the ones that do, right? I be on some aces and places stuff. I'm real big on black economics. We've been talking about this for years as well. And one of the places we can start is funding our own. If we're saying that we're at war, then funding the soldiers, fund the shit that people need, fund the centers, fund all this type of stuff. And when I'm saying funding, it ain't always about money. I think we should all, like the same way we used to say back in the day, each one teach one. There's all of us out here talented and stuff. Brick masons, teachers, hair stylists, everything, bro. You know your art. You know your. I really want to just get to a point where, especially since you got so many people that just love you, get people to sign up for a situation where they're offering talent, they're offering their God-given abilities and stuff like that, or what they do or bring to the collective. You see what I'm saying?
They don't have to here in a minute, because just like when I sent the thing about the Bitcoin, like we talked about the Federal Reserve, in a minute, this whole thing's going to come down crashing. You know, we've been told. I mean, people are prepared for the fiat thing, but I'm going to tell you what a lot of people aren't prepared for is this crypto thing. A lot of people in the conscious community have invested in crypto because they were ill-advised, and this shit shouldn't be shut down, I'm telling you. So they're going to be coming running, and they're going to have to barter. They're going to have to trade. They're going to have to use gifts, talent, skills, and abilities amongst one another and amongst tribes. And my thing and the message that the spirit and the ancestors told me to make sure I conveyed is one, be prepared, because a lot of us aren't prepared, but most importantly, not to fall into a spirit of depression, because I'm telling you, like, I really sense it and I see it, because a lot of people, I'm saying, within the conscious community, they've invested a lot of money preparing and thinking, I'm ready for this when this fiat fall, and this shit gonna come down. So they're going to do it because they're not gonna have but a choice to do it. They are, because we're gonna have the nation build. That's it.
So what we don't realize is we've been building a nation in a nation the whole goddamn time. They thought we was dead.
Yeah.
They thought we was laying down and that we wasn't learning nothing from history. They didn't think none of us paid attention to Marcus Garvey. They didn't think none of us paid attention to Du Bois. They didn't think none of us paid attention to Booker T. Washington or Carter G. Woodson. They absolutely forgot about Malcolm. They thought we were some scared to death ass Negroes that wasn't going to listen to Malcolm, and that we was only going to listen to Martin until that nigga got militant. Then they decided we're going to kill this nigga to show the motherfuckers not to stand up. But they thought that none of us paying attention. I'm going to tell you this. Elijah Muhammad's job was to build us a military.
Right.
The tribes, the tribal leaders is to make a noise for your tribe and know where you at.
To have peace and harmony on you. Hi.
He said he puts peace and harmony on everybody.
Thank you.
Go back to business, dude.
That's my little. Now that's a little warrior. That's a little young guy. That one right there. I told you that one right there. Special. That one right there. He's special. That's my little baby.
Yeah, man.
Ali said before he departed in 1929 that he was going to leave these people in power until we learn how to run a government.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The UNIA was a blueprint to how to run a government and how to perform diplomatic connections around the world by forming what he called a confraternity.
Mm.
They thinking that the Pan-Africanism of Marcus Garvey and Du Bois is the same as the Back to Africa movement of James Delaney, when it's a whole different ideology being exercised.
And 1,000 points, can I just inject one thing? Because people do half-ass research. They tap into it. A lot of people do the half-ass research because they discredit him because they say he was working with white supremacists that were trying to meet the same objective. But he was just smart. Like, if we all say we agree on something, but we can't work together. Me and him don't agree on nothing, but we do agree on one thing. We all want to have this connection for us to go back and forth to Africa. So he worked who he could work with. So I'm sorry, I was just because people always try to change the story and they half-ass do research, especially about Marcus Garvey.
Now, a lot of when they be talking about Pan-Africanism, when you go over there, because if you get a Pan-African education, like Noble Drew Ali said, get a good Moorish education, right? So when you study the Moors, it's going to tell you something about a group of people that don't behave like you,
right?
When Garvey say form a confraternity, a world African confraternity, Asia meets Africa, right? The uniting of what they say, all of them say uniting the Asia and Africa. That's to who? That's the father and the mother. That's Isis and or Inanna and Enki, right? Or Isis and Osir. Asia. So bring mom and dad back together. What do that produce? The black dog, right? So that's coming over here.
And that's why Orion's build is out right now.
Right. So when we look at the foundations of government, they don't have nothing to do with an election. When they told us that the elections was a central part of government, they lied to us. Under the matriarchy, the process is a process of nature. The natural order of the spiritual ranking system will be expressed in the domain of the public or the human. We're going to act as godly as we attain. If you don't attain godhood, you can't become godly. If you don't pay attention to your God self, you can't behave like a God. If all you focus on is your physical self, you can only behave within the confines of the laws of physics or the physical realm. But when you start using your God self, you above the, now you looking down on this shit like, why did I give a fuck that somebody got murdered? I created that shit.
Yeah.
Right? If you God, if you truly in your God self, when you created the good, the byproduct is it's the shadows, it's the counterfeit spirit, it's the reflection of the thing you created. So when you created all these righteous motherfuckers, they had to be inhabited with unrighteousness. That's why Paul say that when I try to do right, for some reason I can't do that shit. But when I ain't trying to do right, this motherfucking demon right here be all up in me. So every time I try to do right, this motherfucker rise up and make me behave according to him. Who is this motherfucker he's wrestling with? W.E.B. Du Bois put it like this: in the warring soul, in the souls of black folks. He says two identities in me. One, a construct of a white supremacist society created and gave to me as my personal self. And the other self that I'm always wrestling with, my true identity of blackness and who I really am. Right? When you talk about blackness under those, in that context, you're talking chaos energy. Because if you're fighting against the artificial self, the only thing can defeat it is control chaos.
Right.
So that means that you have to first go into the chaos. They call that going insane. And when you come out of the chaos is when you learn how to put the chaos in order in the 3D realm. Right? So once you start putting your own mind together, the side effect is, as you speak about what you did when you put your mind together, you reconstructing the mind of the rest of the lost.
Yes, sir.
Like, that's why, like I said, because I was telling you, Marquise, I was like, I feel like her story had been told, right? Because everyone just kind of always talks about it. But I'm like, that's the really true version. That's the first Phoenix. That's the real version of, you know, conquering death, hell, and the grave. Because it wasn't just that she picked up the pieces of Osiris from the scattered land, which is picking us up right now. We're kind of going through a offset situation. Because if you look at all throughout the land, this whole land, everyone is rising up through all the various places. But she also went down because in order to resurrect him, she had to go down into what they call hell. And then she created a phallus from light so that she could create a new light and resurrect. So if you ever have an offset or an Isis altar, you got to have not only a feather, but you have to have something that is resurrecting, of dealing with quote unquote death or resurrection. You can't just have no offset altar and just have something cutesy. You got to have something, because she represents resurrection in life and death in there. And so people have kind of minimized her story. And so I always have to retell it properly in the proper context of the true divine feminine energy of the rising of the true Phoenix, because she is the rising of the Phoenix. Like, that is the energy.
Okay, now something else that we need to ponder when we're looking at that. The humanity of it, meaning the mortal aspect. Right? When Osiris was killed, that was the love of her life.
Yes.
So we don't think that she fell apart emotionally?
Right.
And when she was putting him back together, it never crossed nobody's mind that she was creating her parthogenic son that they call Heru.
Right.
Right? So in other words, she was teaching his son to be just like his daddy. So what'd she do in the end? She resurrected the father in the son.
And why we have to have the divine feminine and masculine. Like, that's why they wanted to
Always.
separate them. Because they know together we powerful. So that's why it's a requirement that the divine.
But that's the sick part, man. I'm not. We say, and one of the funny thing about being a sovereign entity, a god, or whatever we want to call ourselves now, right? We look at everybody else around us, man. Like, I be around so many people. Like, you ever just be around your people and just be like, damn, you know what I'm saying? People be lost like a motherfucker. You just be trying to figure this shit out. Like, that's where I'm at with it. I'm trying to save as many. I don't know where I'm at with it. I'm trying to save as many people as possible. But you know how that shit is. Like brother says, shit. A lot of people just here for the fuel the flame. But I just noticed that a lot in New Orleans and a lot in Mississippi. Like, I come to them with a brand new way of thinking. Like, yo, this is right. You know what I'm saying? You see, I'm still alive. I went out there. I stepped outside the box. I'm back. This is what we got here. We can try this. It's different. We can leave all that other shit alone. And some motherfuckers just stuck. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm just in between. Do we rebuild? Like he said, we've already been doing this for so long. It's like, real quick though. If you look at the screen, the way our screen is split right now, it kind of look like the Dogon. I can't pronounce the name, but the Dogon mask, which is actually a big thing tonight. Also the currency thing, back to what you're talking about, because I don't want to get too far off. You were talking about full moon, eclipse, Taurus, money, eclipsing your money, a war on your money, or should we attack? Some people are saying we'll take that as, I don't want to attack the industry right now. I take that as, think about it, Taurus, attack the industry right now. Attack everything that makes sense right now. Right? Oh, real quick before we forget, CMOS. Niggas about to be selling CMOS on corners like weed around this motherfucker. They're trying to ban CMOS. CMOS.
Okay, let me give you a spoiler. Anything that you think that they trying to ban, they trying to get your attention with that shit.
I peeped that too. Yeah, I was trying to figure that shit out myself.
Look, if they think that so you got a person that be trying to avoid those woke niggas, those conscious niggas, or those Muslim niggas. You got people that actively avoid those niggas that's always talking that knowledge shit. So in order to get one of them motherfuckers to pay attention to one of them niggas that's talking that knowledge shit, when they bring up Sadie, right? And they got enough Nipsey Hussle in them to know who Dr. Sadie is and that he advocated CMOS, right? So now he was ducking all of the knowledge motherfuckers, but now they finna ban CMOS. Then he that's how you crack through the conscience of a motherfucking hardhead. Right. It's awesome.
It's so hypocritical. We talking about we niggas is dumb. Like we acting like, oh, our ancestors this, our ancestors that. You let them break the treaties. They break the treaties right now with the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech.
You ain't looking at it.
No, I get it. But on the guy status, they got Kyrie pent up in a corner for his speech. On some, we want bans because you said something. What happened to freedom of? What happened to these articles that we know that don't exist? But why now as gods? Why aren't we penetrating? Like, where's the comeback of the beautiful? Kyrie, you don't got nobody smart enough around you to be like, we're suing you for going against our freedom of speech, or does that go back to the contract thing? The thing when you sign contracts.
I think you understand. This is the season people got to get exposed. It is what it is. They got to be drilled. I mean, it just kind of, it is what it is. Like, that's why I think I'm moved in meaning I'm supporting, but I'm not moved because I understand this. Part of Eclipse season is it's exposing people too. Like, that's part of what eclipses do. It opens up, it exposes, like not just in the Kyrie, but also in people's individual lives. So you have to look at things are like, stuff is going to come out in people's individual lives, in the spirit realm, in political realms, and finance. Like, shit is just in the open. Like, you lay that shit out on the table.
Why they never took Mardi Gras from New Orleans?
Because we would tear that bitch up.
You can't.
Right, because it's something in the people that if you take that away from them, it causes them to react like a person detoxing from a drug. They rebel because they can't. They used to have an open ancestral channel, right? And now motherfuckers trying to close that shit. Okay, look at it. With the guy, listen, look at it with the guideline. You not finna stop a motherfucker from New Orleans from having Mardi Gras. So what do? You make that motherfucker to a big deal every time they have it. Right. So they know that it's still there, but it's only a big deal in New Orleans, and you shh everywhere else. Oh, you try to temper the energy and make it seem like it's commercialized or try to minimize. Yeah. Right. No, try to make it seem like it's some evil demonic shit that they only do in New Orleans. Right.
A 1,000 pardons. Just say we just did the Goon Goon. I just attended one with the OG Tahir, with the OG, the goddess herself, Sunni Patterson. When I tell you, fuck all the bullshit, come out there for yourself and see the shit. When I tell you, we weren't just stomping to be seen. We stomped, where we were stomping was the white people neighborhoods, the Irish neighborhoods, the Jew neighborhoods, and we were stomping out that bitch. Skinheads was out there. I wasn't trying to do all that with the cameras. I'm trying to show the beauty of it, but it was skinheads out there, bitch. Like New Orleans, they bought it, but we were stomping on that shit saying, and we were reminding them, yeah, remember we killed y'all one time. It literally, that ceremony was saying, we killed y'all and we slaughtered y'all right here. We remember, and let's dance about it, and let's talk about it, and let's play about it. We had the demon out there with us. Yeah, I thought God demon, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's on some other shit. Like, we still stomping on motherfuckers. It's just motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to interject that part, but it's bigger than just, oh, it's being seen. No, it was a whole ritual. We were stomping on their shit. We were stomping on their grave. We were laughing. We went to the slave quarters in New Orleans and went down there and said, yeah, we bringing our ancestors with us. You know what I'm saying? People sleeping on New Orleans energy. People don't overstand because, you know, I'm Louisiana folk Creole. Like, that's what my people say. People sleep on the energy and power that's still to this day that's sitting in New Orleans. Like, they don't sleep on them because them people still down there do what they got to do. And they'll do it with a smile. Like, I'm talking about all the time, every day in and day out. They got as much going on, I would dare to say, as Haiti. Like, as far as to me, an American portal, New Orleans kept it going. It's a reason they try to give a bad reputation. And say, well, don't go mess with that Louisiana girl. Don't when it comes to real, I ain't even gonna put that out there no more. That's just for the dumb ones. They say a bad reputation, but that's for people that just don't know
No,
shit.
I don't care. You know, I don't care. But I'm saying the reason why is just like how they talk about IAT. They talk about Louisiana, in particular, the New Orleans or the Baton Rouge point, but the New Orleans, because it's an energy down there and it's a power down there. And to this day, like I'm telling you what I know. Yeah, I'll just say that, and they have kept it going. And to me, it's a reason that I feel like that they have used to put those hurricanes and was constantly attacking them, just like they was attacking I-80 with hurricanes and earthquakes, because they were attacking the people because it's energy, and they could feel that energy and those ceremonies that was coming from that portal. Them people be always putting in work. They ain't never stopped, never.
So
Not in New Orleans, they haven't.
A good thing to explain like where we at right now energetically, and people understand this is okay. So you got to understand we in a transitional time from going from the lunar moon cycle into the solar sun cycle. That's the natural transitional phase on the 3,600 year elliptical orbit. 2,400 years of that, and some change is how often we change the age.
Right, we're in a changing of an age right now.
Okay, so we going from the Piscean age into the Aquarian age. The Piscean age, the motto that goes with the Piscean age is "I believe,"
and we're going to knowing. Yeah, from believer to knowing.
Right. And the one for Aquarius is I know. Right. I can prove this shit here. Okay. Now, the people that used to believe believed in it long enough for it to be in the collective unconscious so it can be downloaded and utilized for the advantage of the people. All of their beliefs becomes our responsibility to manifest. So we don't have to believe that shit.
Right.
They did that for us.
Right.
Right? So the phoenix, goes down in its own ashes because we burnt yesterday the fuck down. Over. And that's why the sun had to come up for us to have a new day from the ashes.
And this is and the eclipse energy is a 6-month cycle. So that cycle, and it's interesting you said Pt.1 because their Saturn, meaning their harmonic return, ending their Saturn energy, all that dark energy is that March 23rd, 2023. So that's what I'm saying. They're closing out completely, not only their cycle, but also them having to receive their karmic debts for everything they've done, all that blood sacrificing, all that murdering, lying, taking money, taking people's indigenous land, stealing of the planet. That's another reason they're nervous and trying to do the stuff, because a lot of what they're doing is trying to, they think, tamper their own karmic return galactically and astrologically that's coming on them. Starting, the first one is March 7th, but then March 2023, which it sits in for 19 of their years, and they're the one who created this fake time construct. So yeah, and we'll be sitting in our return of taking back our land and rebalancing the energies and stuff. So yeah, it's a cleanup.
Since you mentioned for the last year, we've been in the birth chart or the natal chart for the United States has been in the Pluto retrograde.
Well, no, they get ready to start it. It hasn't started yet. They're going to be in a Pluto retrograde starting March 7, 2023. So, but they've been in there. We've been in our Saturn and Aquarian, meaning us as a collective have been in our Aquarian energy. But America and kind of the Great Britain is getting ready to start their shit officially in March. But it's kind of getting what I call on the runway, like with the plane on the runway and it started up. That's what these eclipses have been doing, is letting them know what's coming. Because this energy that we're going through now, which is why they closing the feds and having all this, the tribunal stuff that you talked about, the inky, this is just a runway. This shit ain't even hit yet. That's why they nervous, because it haven't even really started. This is just a runway. The plane ain't even in the air yet.
Sure. Okay. So when we going into the Pluto retrograde, ain't that like, here's all of your shit back?
Yeah, that's what they call that the Pluto return. So their Pluto Aquarian return, which is the place that they sit in when they officially stole the land in that 1776, it's all your shit back. And that's officially for them. That date for that one is March 7th, 2023. And then their Saturn return in Pisces, because they decided to live under this Pisceanic monetary in particular system and even political system. That's why I said political system is done. So they're getting both of their shit at the same time. And the thing with the Pluto one, that's not something that comes like every 3 months, whatever. It's a once every 200, I want to say 50 or 60 something years. So this is their complete, and it sits for a long time, like 19 years. So, and that second one is March 23rd. So they're literally getting them all at the same time.
So that's what these sigils say in the layout of DC.
Mm.
That's what the translation is, what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says it's a triple overlay.
Yep.
Financial,
mm-hmm.
political,
mm-hmm.
and really it's legal, but it translates as governmental.
Yep.
But it's legal. It's the law is being returned back to its proper position, which is the great law.
Yep.
Right.
We're going to have a lot of deaths, finances, and, of course, return of the land. So all that stuff has got to reset, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ancient Code of Kings and the rights to the earth right both is in agreement that once the original system is restored,
mm-hmm.
the balance returned back to the air, the land, the air, and the water.
Yes.
And that's the exercise of the great law.
Yes.
So if this was to be facilitated by making people close out the conjures, now it would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because any great conjure that's open causes a delay in the ability for the system to turn over.
Right. That's why it has to be closed out. Like I even had that discussion. It has to be closed out prior to March 7, 2023. Like all the conjures have to be closed. That's like the final day, period. Because if it's open, then we don't need it open. Yeah.
So somebody said, what's the significance of May is Mary minus the R.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mary is the rebellious woman, the mother of the sun. So that's Isis energy as mm-hmm. the protective mother, mm-hmm. born in March, mm-hmm. right? And March is Pisces, Aries, right? Pisces.
No, that'd be under Pisceanic. Well, interestingly enough, one hits under Pisces and one hits in the conjunct of Pisces, Aries, but it's a Pisceanic energy though.
Mm-hmm. And Aries come in and also mm-hmm. in May, right?
In March.
I mean in March.
March, April.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it comes in March 22nd to 23rd. So it's so when their Saturn return hits, it's technically going to hit ironically under Aries, which is under the bookman.
and that's the fire and war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Aries is the god of war.
Yes. And he's ruled by Mars, which is the god of war, which is now sitting in Gemini doing its thing because it's collecting energy right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we slowed it down now. I think we got it to a pace where we could get to
Yo, I'm over here reading the messages. I'm reading the messages. It's beautiful. Like I be putting on for Mississippi and Florida and the Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana connection, and they are showing so much love to Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Tonight's a full moon, man. Send some power down so we can stop down on it. You know what's out here. Y'all know what we're fighting up against down here. Send some manifestation to like help me destroy this shit down here. Like anyway, but yo, you want to speak on the Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi connection?
Well, we used to walk the trees from Louisiana all the way to Florida. So they chopped them all down.
Even through Arkansas, actually, too.
Yeah, well, they chopped down the trees off. They gutted the East Coast for their trees.
Yeah.
Right? Most of this land was forested because we chose to have it forested for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When they came in, they wanted to be able to see us riding on the backs of the alligators in the Everglades. They couldn't see us because it was the thicket was too thick. And then when we pop up on their ass, we right there in their face. Now, the modern reference is the purpose of Agent Orange in the Vietnam War is the same purpose they were setting forest fires over here. We used to be so in tune with the gators, they had to use our children as food for alligators in order to get them to develop a taste for our flavor.
Facts.
And that's why you notice a lot of slave revolts had meetings in swamps, whether it was Florida, IAT, or whatever, because we was very in tune and always have been in tune in our
Man,
swamps.
I'm not at home right now, but both of y'all seen some of the artifacts I have, and all the artifacts are books for us, and all of them show literally our ancestors, the women riding the crocodiles away from their enemies or sending the crocodiles to the ancient dragon. I'm from Panama. My grandfather's from Panama, and then my other side of my family is from Benin. Both sides don't know each other per se, but except for if they're saying it's a slave trade, but I'm thinking it's going back to Mensa Bukhari II, where it was 3,000 ships that came from over there. So they try to make it seem like it's all slavery, but we came over here on business as well, and commerce as well.
We've been trading and marrying with people
Forever.
from Africa.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so it's hard to explain it, but most people don't be on. You know what I'm saying?
In the islands, in the South Americas, and Southern America, we was marrying people from Africa the whole goddamn time.
Right.
On the West Coast, we was marrying Polynesians, Asians, motherfucking Filipinos.
Thanks.
We would going across the water. They, bring wives to trade from the royal families to make family treaties and shit through marriage.
Everything's on the reverse. I see.
Right? So when we realize that, we understand that the whole slave narrative, that's why it falls apart. Because the prehistoric bloodlines have all of this testimony that overrides what any of their books say.
Right.
So we know that when we was iron workers on the railroads in the Southwest, that we was working next to the motherfuckers that they kidnapped in China.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about the Chinese slave trade in the Americas. But we was working right next to them.
Yeah.
They thought we was some phenomenal working motherfuckers. Listen to the song Big John. Listen to the song John Henry.
And ain't them the ones they also dressed up as the Bond Lord?
He was a big old man, they go to describing him.
John Henry was hammering on that mountain. They said he was 10 feet tall in that song. You remember that from the nursery rhyme? I remember that in elementary school. Because they said John Henry was hammering on that mountain. He was either, they said 8 feet tall or 10 feet tall. I remember that. They say he hammered so hard that he broke his heart. But yeah, I remember that song. That's when they was cutting down our crystal trees, our big ass trees and stuff.
OG, 1 second though. Someone said a question or made a statement, and I do want to address that. They said there was never no slave ships found. There's no ships over here found for anything. There's no ships over here for white people either. We got to get out that narrative of I guess everybody wants to be free of.
Look, we got
I'm addressing that real quick because people were saying that, and we're disrespecting the ancestors. Shit happened. A lot of shit happened, and we can't discredit one for the other. I think that's where we get it, like over this or that, and we try to force it. But the slave trade did happen. Niggas was getting traded all around the South Americas and America. That shit happened, but there was still niggas over here too. It's not one or the other. But people be like, well, there's no slave ships. Where how the Europeans go? You don't see their ships either. You don't see the great ship Jesus.
You don't look up Ellis Island. They coming up. Look, we got the ships, but we don't have the sardine pack slave ships they talk about. That's just an overlay for Notre Dame University because the plot was a collegiate educational plot. It was developed in the educational boardrooms of Rome. Right? It just so happened that Notre Dame is in France. And France is where Paris is, and Paris is the city of Isis. France means Frank. Right? And so if France means Frank, and Frank is a male name for Francis in the English, Francis being the Latin. So now it's telling you a group of people, the Franks, that populate